Welcome to the Sudden Wealth Playbook. In this video, we'll walk through a practical plan to maximize a $200,000 windfall, avoid common pitfalls, and set yourself up for long-term security and growth. We will move through 4 phases: securing your foundation, handling taxes, building a growth engine through investing, and deciding whether real estate fits your goals. We'll also include illustrative allocations, quick quizzes, and a clear action plan. Let's begin. Here's our agenda. First, why windfalls so often disappear and how to avoid that outcome. Next, we'll introduce a 4-phase framework. Then we'll cover Phase 1, the foundation steps of high-interest debt payoff and building an emergency fund. Moving on, we'll address Phase 2, the tax set-aside to avoid surprise liabilities. After that, Phase 3 focuses on building a growth engine using index funds, dollar-cost averaging, and tax-advantaged retirement accounts. Then in Phase 4, we will compare real estate against a simpler indexing approach. We'll share sample allocations and practical tools, then test your knowledge with quick quizzes, and finally wrap up with clear next steps. A sudden windfall can feel like instant freedom. However, the most common mistake is rapid lifestyle inflation that eliminates the advantage within a few years. Instead of letting spending expand to meet the new balance, we'll take a structured approach that maximizes long-term freedom and minimizes regret. This plan will help you make decisions calmly and methodically. Before we dive into the phases, let's agree on a few ground rules. First, avoid lifestyle inflation and delay big purchases for 6 to 12 months. Second, prioritize paying off any high-interest debt above 5 to 6% annual interest. It's effectively a guaranteed return equal to the interest rate. Third, create a 6-month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account before heavy investing. Fourth, oversave for taxes by setting aside around 20 to 25% of the windfall, depending on the source of the funds. Fifth, focus on broad market index funds for long-run growth rather than chasing hot tips. Sixth, use dollar-cost averaging to reduce the risk of poor timing. Seventh, maximize contributions to tax-advantaged retirement accounts, like 401ks and IRAs, to enhance tax efficiency. Finally, consider real estate only if it aligns with your lifestyle and you are prepared for its responsibilities. It is not mandatory for success. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial, tax, or legal advice. Your situation is unique, so please consult a fiduciary financial advisor or tax professional before making major decisions. Investment returns are not guaranteed, and past performance does not ensure future results. Numbers shown are simplified and illustrative. Phase 1 establishes your foundation. First, pay off high-interest consumer or student debt, particularly above 5 to 6% annual interest. If you have a $40,000 loan at 7%, eliminating it locks in a guaranteed 7% return, risk-free. Second, build a 6-month emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. This is a cash buffer to protect against job loss or unexpected expenses. Third, freeze your lifestyle by delaying big purchases for 6 to 12 months. This pause prevents emotional decisions and keeps your plan on track. The flowchart shows the decision path. Assess whether you have high-interest debt, eliminate it if you do, then fund your emergency savings, stabilize spending, and prepare to move to the tax phase. Phase 2 addresses taxes. Many windfalls are taxable depending on their source. Immediately set aside roughly 20 to 25% for potential taxes in a separate account. Oversaving is better than scrambling later. If you set aside too much, the excess comes back to you after filing. Keep all documentation and track deadlines to avoid penalties. The pie chart is illustrative, showing a hypothetical allocation with 25% for taxes, 15% for safety and emergency fund, and 60% for investments. Your actual percentages will depend on your debt, living expenses, and tax situation. Quiz time. Which is the most prudent immediate step after receiving a $200,000 windfall? Option A. Upgrade your lifestyle and buy a new car. Option B. Invest the full amount immediately into a single stock. Option C. Set aside approximately 20 to 25% for taxes and pay off any debt above 5 to 6% interest. Option D. Delay all actions until next year. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to set aside approximately 20 to 25% for taxes and pay off high-interest debt above 5 to 6%. This approach minimizes risk by preventing surprise tax liabilities and locks in a guaranteed return by eliminating expensive debt. Phase 3 is your growth engine. Focus on low-cost, broad market index funds such as S&P 500 or total market funds. Historically, equities have offered average returns around 9% over the long run, though this is not guaranteed. To reduce timing risk, consider dollar cost averaging over 3 to 6 months rather than investing the entire sum on a single day. Automate your contributions and rebalancing to remove emotion from the process. Additionally, maximize contributions to tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks and IRAs, and consider HSAs if eligible. These accounts improve tax efficiency and can accelerate long-term wealth accumulation. This timeline illustrates a 6-month dollar cost averaging plan. Each month, you invest 1/6 of your intended total into the same broad index funds. The diagram includes reminders to automate transfers and to check allocations only once per month to avoid overthinking. At month 6, it prompts you to complete the final installment and then switch to ongoing contributions at your desired cadence, such as monthly or per paycheck. Let's optimize retirement accounts. Start by securing your employer 401k match. That is a risk-free return. Then, consider maxing your 401k and IRA contributions based on eligibility and whether traditional or Roth aligns with your tax plan. If you have a high-deductible health plan, use an HSA as a tax-advantaged account that can double as a stealth retirement vehicle for medical expenses in the future. Use your windfall to front-load contributions where allowed and maintain monthly contributions thereafter. Keep an eye on fund-expense ratios, because small fee differences compound into large dollar amounts over decades. Phase 4 compares real estate to a simpler indexing approach. Real estate is optional and not required for financial success. A down payment reduces liquidity and introduces ongoing maintenance and responsibility. Transaction costs, property taxes, and time commitments can reduce net returns. In contrast, index funds provide broad diversification, high liquidity, and minimal maintenance. You should consider buying property only if it supports your lifestyle goals and you are financially prepared for the responsibilities and potential cash flow variability. On the left, real estate offers leverage and potential equity growth, plus tangible lifestyle utility. However, it requires time, maintenance, cash reserves, and tolerance for concentrated geographic risk. Transaction costs and property taxes can be significant. On the right, index funds provide broad, global diversification at low cost, with high liquidity and minimal ongoing effort. There are no tenants or repairs to manage, and historical long-run returns have been competitive. The decision should reflect your lifestyle preferences, time availability, and risk tolerance. This mind map gives a high-level overview of the plan. At the center is the $200,000 windfall. Branching out are the 4 phases. Establishing the foundation by paying high-interest debt, building a 6-month high-yield savings emergency fund, and freezing lifestyle. Addressing taxes by setting aside 20 to 25% and organizing documentation. Building growth through broad index funds, a 3 to 6 month dollar cost averaging schedule, and maximizing tax-advantaged accounts. And finally, the choice between real estate and a simpler indexing approach, with an emphasis on maintaining liquidity if simplicity is the priority. Here are 3 illustrative allocation templates that sum to $200,000 and assume a $40,000 high-interest debt balance and monthly expenses of $4,000. The conservative approach emphasizes a larger emergency fund and additional cash reserves, resulting in $64,000 invested in index funds. The balanced approach keeps a 6-month emergency fund, invests $80,000 via dollar cost averaging, and retains $6,000 for near-term goals. The growth approach maintains the 6-month emergency fund, but channels the remaining $86,000 into index funds, with no separate near-term cash bucket. These are examples for illustration. Adapt amounts to your actual debts, expenses, and tax situation. Second quiz. What is the primary benefit of dollar cost averaging a windfall over several months? Option A. It guarantees higher returns than lump sum investing. Option B. It reduces timing risk by spreading entry points. Option C. It eliminates all market risk. Option D. It avoids paying any taxes on gains. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is that dollar cost averaging reduces timing risk by spreading your entry into the market over several months. It does not guarantee better returns than a lump sum, it does not remove market risk, and it has no direct impact on taxes. Its main benefit is behavioral, helping you commit to a plan and stay invested through volatility. Here are the key takeaways. First, eliminate expensive debt for a guaranteed return. Second, protect your plan with a 6-month emergency fund. Third, oversave for taxes to avoid unpleasant surprises. Fourth, build long-term growth with low-cost index funds. Fifth, use dollar-cost averaging to reduce regret and improve consistency. Sixth, maximize tax-advantaged accounts for better efficiency. Seventh, remember that real estate is optional. Simplicity and liquidity can be strong advantages. To wrap up, here are your next steps. First, capture your numbers, including any high-interest debts, your monthly expenses for the emergency fund, and your potential tax exposure. Second, create your buckets: taxes, safety, growth, and near-term goals. Third, automate both contributions and your dollar-cost averaging schedule. Fourth, maximize 401k and IRA contributions where eligible, and monitor fees. Lastly, set a 12-month review date, and then stay the course, avoiding unnecessary changes based on short-term market noise. Thanks for watching. If this playbook helped you think clearly about your windfall, please like the video, share it with a friend who might need it, and subscribe for more practical, research-backed money guides. Drop your questions and your draft allocation in the comments. What would you do with $200,000? I look forward to reading your thoughts.